gentlemen, into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Eugene Parker.
Thank you. Lord, I thank you. Jesus, I love you. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here today. So Lord, I thank you. The Hall of Fame staff, Canton, Ohio, that was a wonderful parade. Although I thought we was headed to Cleveland. It was a good parade. Love you all. President Stephen Perry, Tammy, Dave, Steve, Jerry, thank you. Thank you. You've made this a wonderful thing. We have football coaches, but when it comes to the spiritual things, we don't want any coaching. But I have a wonderful team of spiritual advisors I just want to appreciate. So if you could bear with me, I'm going to run through a lot of thank yous because unfortunately, or fortunately, I played for 5 teams. It's not like I wanted to leave one, but I had to. So I got a lot of thank yous. My spiritual advisors, my spiritual father, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Bishop Watkins, Bishop Jones, Bishop Long, Bishop Owens, Pastor R.J. and April Washington, the Hornbuckles, Dr. Leroy Thompson, Pastor Paula Randy White, Pastor Tracy David Forbes, who led me to the Lord. Thank you, because oftentimes when we have public success, we have private struggles. And thank you for blessing me and speaking into my spirit. Coach C, Coach David Helen Capel. Coach Capel, who suffered a massive heart attack, and his excitement to get here was so vital in who I am, what I am, and where I am today. Coach Ron Hoover, my high school coach, for kicking me off the team my junior year, although I'm the starting quarterback. That taught me a valuable lesson, but to this day, I still wasn't insubordinate in that cafeteria. I promise you I wasn't. I don't know what that lady was talking about, for real. Principal Stickles, DeShazzo, Athletic Director Bobby Dewey, my English teacher, Miss Fleming, I thank you so much. Recruiter Jim Harbison, Coach Bobby Bowden, the best college football coach ever. Jimmy and Donna Calloway, I love you because you love me like I'm your own. Mickey and Diane Andrews, my defensive back coach at Florida State. Coach Andrews, where are you? You taught me everything. I love you. The 2 things that you taught me, I could be 2 persons at the same time. You would yell at us, scream at us, then the time we get in the cafeteria, how's the family? How's everything going? And you blessed me. Also, you made me the punt returner that I am. Because you remember that drill that you had, that you laid this mat out on the field and the punter would kick and everybody had to come and lay out and dive and try to block the punt. And I don't even dive in pools. I don't even do that. But the guy before me, right before me, dove and the kicker kicked him and split his jaw wide open. And I said, Coach, I'll go back there and return these punts. So I want to thank you for allowing me to be that punt returner. Special people, Eugene, I love you, man. You've been there, you've been straight up, you've been forward. I've never heard you use profanity. I've never seen you out of character. You've always been a blessing and told me the right things, not just was a yes man. I love you for that. I really, really do. Jamie Dukes, like my brother, Andre Rison, Keith Ross, Alfonso Williams, Corey Fuller, who allowed me to come back and play for the Ravens by telling my beloved Ozzie Newsome that I could still do it. Jason Phillips, who's the offensive coordinator at University of Houston, but when we went at it against each other in Atlanta on the scout team, he didn't have Sundays to play. He had Wednesdays and Thursdays, and he went at my butt. We had a battle every day, and I love you, Jay Field, for that. The Snoop D-O-double-G. Thank you for coming, my man. Cube, where you at? Cube, I've been loving you since the early 90s, baby. Thank you. Constance Swartz, my business manager, Jose, Ayana, Jeremy, Broderick the Sandman, Thomas, Neil Smith, Nancy Lieberman, Nate Newton, and D.L. Wallace. Sponsors, Under Armour. You see a bunch of kids around here with Truth on. It wouldn't have been possible had it not been for UA. I thank you, UA, and I love you dearly. My family, Auntie Scooty, thank you for all the sacrifices, the love, the compassion that you give for me. Stand up, baby. That car phone that you got me when I was in college, I love you for that. Aunt Vet for putting this whole thing together, because you know I'm not like this really. I have a hard time of being a recipient of things. I still got presents and birthday cards and gifts way back from 2 birthdays and Christmases ago. Thank you for handling all of this. Uncle Billy for being my man, my dog from forevermore. My sister Tracy for always having my back. I love you, girl. Cousin Carson, niece Tia, Grandma Hattie Mae Mims, my prayer warrior who's always prayed me through. I thank you so much. Atlanta Falcons, Taylor Rankin Smith, Ken Herrock, Coach Campbell, Hannaford, Glanville, June Jones, Jimmy Carr, Fred Bruni, my defensive back coach, special teams, Bobby April, Frank Clear, equipment manager, that I wore his helmet every game I played in until I went to Baltimore. The late Whitey Zimmerman, and God bless you, thank you, Horace Daniels. The new regime, I had a wonderful meeting today with one of the most beautiful owners I've ever had, and I wish I would have played for him, Arthur Blank. Thank you, man, I love you. Rich McKay, Reggie Roberts, Kevin Winston, Thomas Dimitrov, thank you so much for everything. Eddie DeBarlow, Carmen Policy, Dwight Clark, Seaford, Ray Rhodes, my man Ray Rhodes, I love you so much. Defensive back coach Tom Homo, PR Rodney Knox, Jerry Jones. Taught me so much about family, taught me so much about business, taught me a lot about life. Your beautiful wife, Jean. Stephen, I love you. The Jones whole family. Secretary, Marilyn Love, who's the best cover corner I've ever seen. Coach Barry Switzer, Chan Gailey, Dave Campbell, Mike Zimmer, defensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals right now. You will be a head coach one day, sir. Joe Avazano, Rich Dalrymple, Mike and Bucky, equipment man. I told you I had 5 teams. Washington Redskins, Daniel Snyder, Vinny Serrato, Norv Turner, Ribisky, Ray Rhodes once again, Ron Meeks, Jay Bird, equipment man, and my man Mel Braden. I appreciate you so much. Baltimore Ravens, Steve Bisciotti, Ozzie Newsome, thank you for giving me the opportunity to end right. You must end everything you do in the right way. Head coach Billick, Jim Fossil, Mike Nolan, and I love me some Rex Ryan. Defensive back coach Dennis Thurman, Johnny Lynn, PR Kevin and Chad Steele, equipment manager Ed Carroll. I'd like to thank all the trainers as well who were there prominently for me. I thank you so much. Do you understand this is the Hall of Fame? I grew up on some of you guys. I couldn't wait to just get a glimpse of that television and some of you guys, to play against the Marinos, to play against the Montanas. Troy Aikman, man, Emmitt Smith, Mike Irvin, are you kidding me? Jerry Rice, Steve Young I got to play with. Some of the best in the business, Irvin Fryer from the Washington Redskins, Andre Rison, once again, Jamie Duke, some of these guys that I adore. Scott Case, the best secondary ever assembled to me in San Francisco, Merton Hanks, Eric Davis and Tim McDonald, Dedrick Dodge as well. This game taught me how to be a man. This game taught me if I get knocked down, I got to get my butt back up again. This game taught me that some things in life you can't do too prematurely. In football, they call it offsides, and life is just life. Throughout this game, I've lost some people, but throughout this game, I've gained 5 wonderful, beautiful kids. Deandra, Deion Jr., Shiloh, Shador, Shalimai, with all my team's jerseys on, I love you. Thank you, babies. My beautiful wife, Pilar, who was sacrificed and put her dreams and ambitions on hold to make sure I achieved mine. Thank you, baby, for all you do and for all you put up with me, because I know I'm not easy to deal with. This game, I appreciate this game so much because I thought about it as a child. I wanted to do it, and they told me that we would get compensated and paid for a game that I always love. And I hear so many people say, I would do this for free. I would too, as long as you're doing it for free. But this game means so much to me. But I always had a rule in life that I would never love nothing that couldn't love me back. So I admired this game. I liked this game. It taught me how to be a man. It taught me how to get up. It taught me how to live and play with pain. This game taught me so much about people. It taught me so much about timing. It taught me so much about focus, dedication, submitting oneself, and sacrifices. This game. And I went at this game and I attacked this game because I made a promise that I needed this game to fulfill. I made a promise when I was 7 years old to this young woman at the age of 27. She was working 2 jobs just to see if ends could see one another because they never met. And she was slaving over pots and pans on that precise day, and I can remember it was a little high chair right by this kitchen. In the kitchen, it was a high chair right by the stove that she was cooking. And I said, Mama, because I was tired of seeing her go to work and come home all tired. I said, I'm gonna be rich one day. Mama, I'm gonna make a lot of money. And you would never have to work another day of your life. My mama say, that's fine, but until the end, you get that lawnmower and go out there and cut that grass. "14 years later, that's why you can't give up on your dream, your promise. Because 14 years later, this dream, this promise came. That I was able to allow my mama to go into a job and say, I'm not doing it anymore. My son has blessed me, but it's something inside of me, Mama, that I never told you, that I never could admit, and I'm gonna share it with all of you because now we're family. I played for a youth team called the Fort Myers Rebels, and they blessed me. They took me all over the country to play and expose me to things, expose you to things. And everybody on that team, their parents owned something, and their parents were doctors or lawyers or the chief of police. It was that type of organization. Me and one of my friends were the only African-American kids that was on that team, and it was a very affluent team, and I was ashamed of my mama. Because my mama worked in the hospital. She cleaned up the hospital. She pushed a cart. And I was ashamed of my mama who sacrificed, who loved me, who protected me, who gave me everything I want to make sure I was best dressed in school. And I had everything that was late that came out. I had it first. I was ashamed of my mama. Because one of my friends in high school, he saw her in a hospital one night pushing a cart, and he came back and he clowned me. He ridiculed me and he mocked me because of my mama. So I made a pledge to myself that I don't care what it takes. I don't care what it may take. I'm not going to do anything illegal, but my mama would never have to work another day of her life. And I recognized the defensive backs at that time didn't get paid a lot. Quarterbacks, running backs, linebackers, defensive backs wasn't paid a lot. And in my dormitory room at Florida State, I created this image, this thing that you could imagine. You could love him or hate him, but he was prime time. I would pre-rehearse the quotes. I would pre-rehearse the sayings because I knew I had the substance. I knew I had the goods. I knew I had the work ethic. But I needed to secure myself enough that my mama would never have to work another day of her life. See, the problem is with some dreams, the dreams are only about you. If your dream ain't bigger than you, there's a problem with your dream. So throughout my whole career, I understood there were going to be stones. Because when you make it a difference, it's going to be haters. When you're provoking change, it's going to be naysayers. People don't condone what they've never seen. And some of the stuff I tried to do, they had never seen. But when you talked about me, media, guess what? Behind you, I saw my mama. When you wrote about me, when you naysayed me, when you criticized me, I saw right through your papers, right through your TV, and I saw my mama. When you told me what I couldn't do, when you told me what I didn't do, when you told me what I would never be, I saw my mama pushing that cart. When you told me I was too small, I wasn't educated enough, I saw my mama. Because I made a promise. And whenever you make a promise, there will be a responsibility to that promise. And you have to maintain that responsibility. That's why I love this game. When we get away from this game and we put these jackets on and we no longer on that field in that locker room, we lose responsibility because this game has given us responsibility that you had to make that throw. Troy, when Mike came out of that break, Emmett, you had to pick up that block. Jerry Rice, you had to be where you said you was going to be. Responsibility. It was a promise. It was a responsibility. Then there's an intellect, there's an intelligence that one must have. You think these guys are sitting up here flanked on my right and on my left and they didn't have the intelligence? I'm not talking about the IQs that you learn in school. I'm talking about that knowledge of life, the intelligence. I had a promise. I had a responsibility. I had somewhat of intelligence. Then I had to manage all these things. There's no class that teaches how to manage people. There's no class that told us how to manage millions. There's no class that teaches how to manage time. We had to learn this on the fly because ultimately most people that are around us are on a payroll, and oftentimes they tell you what you want to hear. Thank you, Eugene, for being you. Now I got a promise. I got a responsibility. I got an intelligence and an intellect. Now I'm managing things. The last thing that I have is expectation. What separates us from some of you kids, from some of you adults, from some of you people, that we expect to be great. I heard some of the Hall of Famers say, I would never really dreamt like this. I'm sorry. I did. I expect to be great. I expect to do what hadn't been done. I expect to provoke change. I expect when I walk into a room and it's 72 degrees, when I get there, it's going to be 70. I expect to make change. I expected, no matter what the team I played on, to be great. And thank God I went to 5 different teams, because when I got to the next team, I had to prove myself all over again. When I got to the next team, I had to prove myself all over again. I expect certain things. People, start expecting what you desire. desire. Start thinking outside the box. On my shoes right now, on these kids' shirt behind them, it says, you gotta believe. I have a problem that if you don't believe in yourself, how will somebody else believe in you? Now let me back up a minute. I gave you a promise. I gave you the responsibility. I gave you the intellect, the intelligence. I gave you the management. I gave you the expectation. I don't know if you figured it out by now, but I just gave you prime. I just gave you the formula and who is really standing before you, because I was trick-or-treating and it wasn't even Halloween, because all the things you really thought I was and some of the things you didn't like, you didn't love, you didn't want to accept, I was doing it for my mama. I will leave you with this. Many of my naysayers said, you know, Prime didn't tackle. I say, well, show me some film where he didn't, or where he hurt his team. But I want to respond to that publicly, because that affects me. It bothers me. It's insinuating that I'm soft, and I got kids. Since 1989, I've tackled every bill my mama has ever given me. Hadn't missed one. Now, next time they say Prime didn't tackle, make sure you let them know, yes, he did. Hall of Famers, I am so privileged and so thankful to be amongst you. You don't understand how I didn't understand it until I got here, until I spoke to some of you, until I seen some of you, until I heard some of you articulate yourself. When I heard the struggles and the trials, I met a new friend. His name is Chris Handberger. I know all the rest of y'all, so I'm not giving you that. But Chris, I love you, man. You're a good dude, man. NFL Network, thank you for blessing me, for giving me an opportunity to be me. Truth family, stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, I came here with 7 buses full of kids and parents, all ethnicities, all social climates and social statuses. We're one family. I tricked these kids, and I'm going to tell them, by using sports to educate them. I'm trying to open a charter school. What are we doing with this platform that we have? Just to wear this gold jacket, just to walk around and say I'm a Hall of Famer? Come on, people. Let's provoke change. Truth family, I love you, because we are training you. We are raising your kids to be CEOs, not employees. We are raising your kids to be leaders and not followers. And Truth family, thank you for your sacrifices, for your love, for your compassion that you have for me. Because guess what? I need it. I thank you. I love you. Hall of Fame, I tell you what, I don't know what's going on in the other tents, but Snoop, Nelly, Cube, you're going to do something. We about to go tear this thing up. I appreciate you. I got one final thing, because I like him, but something's missing. Thank you. God bless.
That was the way to end the speech. Deion putting the rag on the bust. Tom, is that cowboy colors that you saw there?
There is nobody like him.
Yeah.
There is nobody quite like Prime, and I think to a certain extent, that was the point he was making during his speech.
And he made it during a brilliant 14 seasons in the NFL that ended up with Deion prime time in the Hall of Fame. Tired of